Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, I do a lot of research and perusing before doing these episodes, and one of the things I've been seeing for the last couple of weeks is this fan theory that maybe GM Grier is tanking the team. It's been all over the place. Everyone thought, hey, last year was disappointing. Off season, we got a top 15 pick. He's about to go crazy. And what we've seen is a lot of, oh, that's an okay piece. And, oh, well, maybe there's upside there. And it seemed underwhelming, right? You've seen teams like the Commanders. You've seen teams like Philadelphia. You've seen the Patriots make a lot of moves. And we're just kind of do, 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 do. And a lot of question is, hey, his job has to be on the line, right? Like you haven't won a playoff game in years. Like you just missed the playoffs. You're spending a bunch of money. He can't feel safe. But what's happening right now, right? That's kind of what the theory's been. This is what the substantiation has been. Not saying this is my theory. This is what people are saying. If they really wanted to spend money this offseason, they could have restructured to his contract, freed up $20 million more dollars. Presumably, $20 million could have gone towards a top corner, a top O lineman. We could have rebuilt the team overnight. Right? We had $27 million of money to spend. Now you have $47 to spend. That changes the caliber of people you go after. You could do that. There's, certain people who were available early that we looked at. We didn't really, we maybe made low ball offers to. Teams came over the top of us. Maybe we weren't aggressive enough, right? But my whole thing is, I can't believe it because if we have a bad season in 25, I do not believe he'll be here in 26. I don't think he has enough job security to do the Philadelphia 76er trust the process thing, right? There can't be job security for him or Coach McDaniel, really. If this is not a good season, I can very easily see both of them be gone. So that's why I don't fundamentally agree with the idea. What I think he's doing, and I've mentioned this before, is I'm trying to keep costs down and keep us open for the future. Okay, think of it this way. Let's say this year does not go the way we want it to go. A year from now, you could have Tua off the books, Tariq off the books, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips can all be gone. 80 to 100 million frees up instantly. And then you can basically rebuild your team. Now, I don't think we want that. We like all the players I just mentioned, but they're not really attached to them going forward. And whatever cap hits, you take those. We can do that. What I think he would like to do is, hey, let me see you guys show it on the field and you're great. And then whatever money you want to get paid, you get paid. We can figure it out that way. But you don't want to be pigeonholed by contracts that are 4 or 5 years, 70 million. Like what Atlanta's going through with Kirk Cousins right now, unacceptable. It seems like that's where Grier's trying to avoid. Kirk Cousins got a 4 year, I think it was 180, but really like only 90 was guaranteed. And then he played good for like 6 games, then was bad for like 5 or 6 games, and then Penix came in and was, oh, that's our quarterback of the future. But then we still got to pay Kirk Cousins because we overpaid the first time. When if they had signed Kirk Cousins to a 1 year, $45 million contract, then yeah, he would have played for half the season. You kind of burn some of the money, but then you off Kirk Cousins. That's the reason why Washington kept franchise tagging him over and over again, because they were like, we don't think you're the long-term answer and we don't want to be caught in the contract. And maybe they're right, maybe they were wrong, who knows, but they did what they thought they should do. And so it feels to me like Chris Grier is just basically trying to hedge his bets. I want to put guys on the field who may be good, but if they're not good, I don't cost anything. If they are good, all right, we can figure out the money. But I don't want to have all this long term. I don't want to be the Saints. I don't want to be the Saints where we're going to pay Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara and like Cameron, and we're going to pay like Lattimore. We're going to pay everybody, Michael Jenkins. We'll pay everybody at one time. And then 5 years later, woof. Woof. Books are cooked. Coaches fired. People defecting. Quarterbacks leaving. Like, that's what I think he's trying to do. I don't think he's trying to tank. I think he's trying to keep the future viable while being competitive in the future. Think of it this way. A soft rebuild, I think, is kind of where he's at. Like, either we're good right now or a soft rebuild where 1 year maybe you go 7-10 and then the next year you're back in the playoffs. That bottoming out to 2-3 wins, unacceptable in the city. But if you say, hey, we won 8 games and then we get everyone off the books, win 7, but get like a top 5 pick, immediately retool, maybe he can get that off, but I do not believe he will be around to see that day. One of the guys in free agency that the Dolphins actually pursued last year was Dalton Risner. He's a guard for the Vikings. They pursued him and just kind of decided to go with Eichenberg and Robert Hunt last year. And I don't know. They just are not Robert Hunt. Eichenberg was basically the person that ended up playing that position. But they went with that instead because I don't know. That's what we chose to do. It didn't really work out. Obviously, Eichenberg wasn't great last year. Still on the team, but wasn't great. And now Dalton is still available, right? Young guy. He's not great because we're not signing great free agents, really. What he is relatively cheap. Last year, he was only 2.4 million against the cap, which is basically like a punter nowadays. Like super low cap number, but he started 10 games. So if I can get a guy that can start starting caliber for $2.5 million, that's a win, right? And then again, if he's good, then you have to give him some kind of extension, presumably. But at the moment, he's cheap. You liked him last year. You didn't sign him. He's available again. Now, I know Larry Baram wants to play guard, even though he played tackle with Chicago. We don't know if he can be a good guard. We're probably going to draft a guard as well. I don't know. We know Dalton can play guard because he just got done doing it. I think Minnesota's O-line has been pretty solid for the last few years. Not elite, definitely not bad. I mean, offense has been pretty solid under Kirk and Sam Darnold last year. So we know he's been a productive part of the line. We know he's not super elite, but he definitely is a fill-in starter who I do not think will take the team backwards. So I don't know what the holdup is. He's just not been signed. It may be a thing. It may be, again, it may be behind the scenes contract things. It may be because Minnesota's trying to figure out their quarterback situation. So maybe he wants to stay in Minnesota. They don't know if they're bringing Tannehill in. JJ McCarthy came out today saying, hey, they haven't told me I'm QB1. So I don't know what they're doing in Minnesota because apparently Aaron Rodgers is not getting that position. It's very confusing. But it may be a situation where they're just going to resign him and they're kind of like giving him a wink, wink, don't go anywhere kind of deal. But we wanted them before, kind of pursued him, pulled back, and now he's available again in a position of need that we have. It seems like it would be a nice marriage. I don't know. Just not happening. We'll keep you posted. And finally, let's get back to some draft coverage. So we've been doing all the first round grades. We talked about a couple of DBs, a couple of secondary people, a couple of D linemen. We're going to talk about Maxwell Hairston today. So y'all know how I feel about the SEC. Maxwell played for Kentucky last year, who was surprisingly solid, actually. And if you watch the combine, you know who he is because he ran the fastest time for DBs. He ran a 4.28 at the combine. Anytime you run a sub 4.3, everybody knows who you are. Like, oh, you ran a 4.2 something. Awesome, right? Vertical leap, almost 40 inches. Crazy. Long arms. So that sounds great. Like sub 4.3, vertical, athletic. That sounds great. What's the downside? Well, he's 5'11", a buck 83. And he had a shoulder injury this year. So you're small and injured. That's a tough pill to swallow for like a first round pick. So my belief is that he's actually going to slide. I don't think he'll be a first round pick, which is why I'm wondering, will he be around in round 2 when Miami drafts again? We have pick 48. So that's like toward the end, middle to ish of the second round. There's probably 5 or 6 DBs graded above him. So I can easily see a scenario where if there's not a run on cornerbacks, that he falls. There are not a lot of great safeties in this draft, so that kind of muddies the waters a little bit because teams that may want a safety may draft a corner and try to convert. That's the thing. But if he's around in the second round, tremendous pickup. He has the upside to be an amazing slot corner and maybe a developing DB2. Like, he has that kind of upside. Super fast. He had 5 picks, 3 pick sixes in his career, which tells me, 1, good ball skills. He takes chances, which can go either way, right? Some Asante Samuel kind of stuff, right? Where he tries to jump routes, and he's fast enough to jump routes, which is awesome. And when he gets picks, house call. Also great. Okay in a run. Not elite in a run. Okay. Again, he's 5'11", 183. I don't expect him to be like picking up a slam. That's not really his bag. He is, no one's going to run behind me. And because I'm fast, I can take chances in the secondary. I kind of like cornerbacks who are a little risky, who kind of bait quarterbacks in the throws. So, like, I'll play off because they think they can get to the spot before the receivers. I like that sometimes. That can be my number one corner. But if you're my second corner or like my slot corner, I like the idea that there's some higher upside. Because if you're the corner that's just good in like zone, where everything gets caught in front of you, you just rally and make a tackle. That's fine, but I don't. That doesn't make me feel some kind of way. The corner that's kind of playing like you gonna throw the ball, you gonna throw it. I got you. Like I like the upside of that. And again, if he's your second or third corner, fine, because we don't need to have you on every play. But the upside is tremendous, off the charts athleticism. Obviously, the speed is elite. Size, we can probably put some weight on. Shoulder injuries for cornerbacks, tough. Because one, you're jamming, you're bumping and running. But two, you do have to come up and make tackles. And when you're smaller, you typically are diving. He's not squaring up with people. He's probably diving at knees and ankles. And running backs now are in the 225 to 235 range. It's a lot of weight. Receivers are getting bigger. The injury concern is a real concern. I think as a second round option, I'm here to take a chance. First round, absolutely not. It'll be an overdraft in the first round. I hope they don't go that route. But as a second round option, I think he could be great. We love upside. We like athletic corners. We like ball hawks. We like people that can make plays on defense because we didn't make a lot of splashy defensive plays last year. We were just solid across the board, like yards per game, points allowed, solid. Very few like, oh, what a great defensive play. Just a lot of good play. I want a little bit more splash. I want some splash on defense. And I think if Maxwell's there, he could give us some of that. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate it. Love and support. You guys have been crushing it. All the likes and subscribe. So we keep doing that. We appreciate that. And we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.